Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, brought to you by Ford Raptor.
Vroom.
I wish
Right.
Ford Raptor. I'd really like a Ford Raptor.
Yes, me too. And there are some crazy things you can do with it. It's built to go on the Baja. You know that.
I know that.
The
Yeah.
Baja race. And you can find some crazy crap people will do with a Raptor just because it's a 0 to 60 thing. Because it can. Should it,
Right.
Or can it?
Right.
So.
Anyway, right. So Ford Raptor, I love Ford Raptor. I had driven diesels for a long time, and I was really dedicated to driving a diesel because of the economy and the power and everything that
You were making your own fuel.
And I made my own biodiesel for a decade, but I didn't like the ride. Riding a 3/4 ton pickup, and I didn't have the $90,000 pickup that you can adjust the ride. It rattled your teeth out in elk country.
Yeah,
it was awful. Yeah. And so
it got us there though.
It did many a time, but I like the F-150 style suspension as I get older. So Ford Raptor until my Cybertruck comes in.
Yeah, which I was a little disappointed for you this week because I saw something about production being
Go
pushed
ahead and
year.
talk. Go ahead and talk. I got an answer for you.
Go ahead.
First.
I just said it. I was a little concerned for you because they pushed production off till next year. It looks.
They did. It looks.
That's what.
That is your interpretation.
Yes.
That is not Elon. Listen, they have some really good experience building factories. They built one in China. They went from breaking the ground to producing cars in less than 1 year.
Okay.
In the same calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
So they started building the Austin plant, and they've been building the one in Germany. And so here's what's happening. They took because of inflation and because of the car situation and computer chips and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They took pricing off of Tesla's website. Right? So you don't know what the price is. I'm already locked in.
Right.
My Cybertruck is going to cost me $60,000, and that's with full self-driving.
Nice.
So it's going to be
like drive you to the elk.
It's going to be the most entry-level Cybertruck now because it's only the dual motor.
Right.
Because I don't think they're going to go with a single motor. But they're having a big party this month. The 26th of this month, the Austin factory is opening for business. Okay?
Yeah.
What's going to coincide with that on the 26th of this month is Elon Musk is going to give a presentation and give us an update about the Cybertruck. They took down production coming in 2022. They took that down from their website, I believe, not because it's not going to be here until 2023, but because it already is 2022 and they're about to announce cars rolling out. They sold over 100,000 cars in China in the last quarter of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
so I came across a statement again. It's the internet.
Yes.
But a comment apparently Mr. Musk made towards someone indicated as much that it might be delayed due to supply chain issues, not because he can't build his factory.
Ah, sure. He's a troll. There's a great actual, like a little mini documentary on why Tesla has been outperforming the chip shortage.
Okay.
Because they had change
a lot of
integrated
stuff
into the system. Yeah.
In-house. No, that was a smart move compared to the other auto industry. I saw something along those lines as well.
Yeah. And they've got some issues. Tesla has some growing pains. They have to make batteries, and they broke ground on another factory in California this year, or last year.
Even though he's leaving California?
Well, the headquarters is leaving. Anyway,
right.
Anybody with a better elk truck than what I have, which is it's a decent Dodge Ram. It's a Dodge Ram 1500, big back seat. Love that.
I've got a Ford Escape with a trailer. So Ford Raptor, by the way, Ford. Like I've had a few Fords in my life. Ford, starting with a Ford Festiva.
Yeah.
Having a Ford Ranger that didn't have reverse for a while. We took to elk country.
That took us through a couple elk seasons.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it took me through a couple more, surprisingly. And now Ford Escape.
Okay, so anyways, I just want everybody to know that I know we talk about Cybertruck a lot, and I will on the Elk Season podcast because the Cybertruck, I'm really, really excited about the Cybertruck and what it's going to mean to my outdoor adventures, not just to Elk Season, but all my outdoor adventures. And but until it comes out, and you're right, we could hear later this month. And we'll see later this month that Cybertruck's not coming for another 2 years.
You were saying something about they need to have side mirrors now?
Yeah, the prototype. Yeah, because
that's going to make it awkward through the car wash. I don't know why I said that.
Just you really threw me for one there.
It was a nonsense throw.
So anyways, that's a potential sponsor. Crocs. Okay, I watched 3. I had to limit myself to 3 videos this week on YouTube.
Okay.
And I watched them all twice.
Okay.
And I still can't find one of them. I'm like, I was going to watch it again this morning.
Do you watch that much YouTube or video and it's that your history doesn't have that? You can't click on your history and scroll through?
I'm almost 50. I don't know how to look at my history.
Okay.
What have I been watching on YouTube? Now, if I knew that was a history button, I might laugh at myself if I looked at it.
Because that's how I remember. Like, if I want to watch a video later and I don't have time in the morning, I'm like, I'll push play, and then I'll go through my day, and I'll have watched other things too. But by the end of the day, I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll go to my history, and I'll go, here's that video that I've been waiting for all day.
Here's a fun aside. I had a consult on neurofeedback this week.
Okay.
Yeah. I know I'm bringing this up. This is for my brain health.
And I once aspired before I got into teaching full time. I aspired actually. I looked into the certification process to become a neurofeedback specialist.
And so I've had problems with my brain. It doesn't work like I want it to.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to describe it. And it's issues like, is there a history button on my YouTube?
Uh-huh.
I go to look for it. I get so lost thinking that it's there. There's too many options. My brain does not want to look at that. And so I've had problems with computers. when I edit video, and I like to edit video, those programs are really complex. And I have to either over caffeinate myself so much.
Wow.
To just function and pull that off. Now that I've learned it, it's a little more relaxing to get in there.
Yeah.
But at first, all those options
overwhelming.
Were so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I just quit. And so my boss hates me because I don't answer email because I'm like, oh, look at all those emails, and I just shut down.
Well, yeah.
It's weird. So anyways, I'm seeking professional help.
Awesome.
And I'm excited about it.
Have you learned anything yet, or is it just initial consult? And if there's anything you don't want to share, you don't have to. Obviously.
No, I know. I look forward to telling you all about it as we go. I have to go down to Utah to get all the electrodes up to my brain to get they
got to do a full brain scan.
The full brain scan map.
I don't know if you knew this, but and I'm not sure which database they'll use, but I know that there's a database out of I think it's Pittsburgh. Where they have, I think, it's either 200 or 600,000 brain scans.
Wow.
With an electroencephalogram, an EEG.
Yeah.
And what they were able to do with that is they'll take the demographics, male, female. Do you have a history of ADHD, depression, trauma?
Yeah.
And then they can take a look at typical versus non-typical experiences of brainwave activity. And based on that, they have been able to identify clear brainwave patterns for things like trauma or depression, ADHD.
Really?
And
good.
So neurofeedback is sort of rooted off of being able to look at your brainwave scan compared to others, and then they can sort of tailor your treatment based on what they might see in terms of your brainwave activity.
Awesome. I'm excited about the process. I've had some trauma as a child. I was knocked unconscious a few times as a kid. And I probably should have been diagnosed with something. I've never been diagnosed with anything ever. and because I'm just like, no, screw it. I'm out of here. And I just give up or leave or something because that's too much. I don't want to be tested. You guys can I'll find my way. And I have, but it's becoming more and more evident. Hey, if there's a way to fix this without chemicals.
Sure.
I got enough chemicals in my brain.
Right.
I really try to stay away from the Ritalin and the Adderall and stuff.
Sure.
So anyways, that's just an aside.
Interesting note though. That's prescription strength caffeine, whereas you talked just a minute ago about caffeinating yourself in order to even feel confident to stay focused on something. Interesting.
Yeah. So I have caffeine because I've had caffeine every day for my of all my life for as long as I can remember. Just every day you have caffeine. Funny enough, I don't have a lot of caffeine during elk season.
Yeah, neither do I.
Never. If we're up and moving,
what
do you need caffeine for?
Early on, I started packing like Via, to mix, and then I didn't like Via. And so I was actually packing my own grounds and bringing a press for my jet boil. But it just was too much of a process. And I'm like, do I really even need it? Because just getting up and going, the adrenaline of being in elk country told me, I don't need it. So I've stopped drinking coffee out in the field. And even at base camp, it's just not needed really.
Yeah. And I did on TikTok, I did my jet boil versus a Keurig machine on a race. Who makes coffee faster? But I bet you, and it was the jet boil won. The jet boil beat the Keurig machine.
Yeah, and don't get me started on Keurig machines. I'm a self-proclaimed coffee snob here.
That's true. I think if you took the Keurigs and the Vias, you brewed 5 cups of each, and you gave somebody a taste test, they couldn't tell. You wouldn't know. You couldn't tell the difference between Via and a Keurig. If you really like coffee in the backcountry, and you want a great cup of coffee, Via is.
Except for people like me. When you compare Via to not being able to be, it's indistinguishable between a Keurig cup. You really brought Via down to a level that I'm just not going to touch again.
So everything is garbage because Via. You're a coffee snob. It's okay. You say it.
Coffee profiles start losing their flavor profiles the minute you grind that bean, and you have a Keurig cup that's been sitting on the shelf for an unspecified amount of time. It's never.
Yeah. So what's on your YouTube history? Why did you watch 17 hours of coffee? Who needs 17 hours of making coffee?
I have several folders that I put videos in. I probably would argue that the folder that has the most videos is the coffee folder, elk being the next one. Okay, that's actually not true. But.
So, anyways, Crocs.
Way to bring it back full circle.
You know what? I watched some videos this week. Everybody had the Crocs. Everybody's got Crocs. I love my Crocs.
Okay.
To be able to walk outside without poking my feet.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So all the guys were packing Crocs. You're not a Croc guy?
Well, I have a pair of Crocs.
Yeah.
And I when I can remember to grab them, I grab them. And yeah, there's certain.
The guys I watched were in the backcountry.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't using. So I use my Crocs typically to cross streams. That's what I tell myself.
Right.
But at camp at night, just with a pair of wool socks and Crocs, oh man, you can wander all around camp wherever you can.
At a base camp, the Crocs I think are indisposable. Is that right?
Not a base camp, backpacking camp.
Backpacking camp?
Yeah, they were all packing them. They were all packing them,
right.
And they did. So there was a combination of. We'll talk about it later.
But no, because what we're doing on Labor Day weekend, I want to make sure I have my Crocs because I know.
Yeah,
creek crossings.
There was a big one. I did it this year, and the first creek crossing, because everything changes every spring. Yeah. Something changes, but the first 2 creek crossings are really close together.
Yeah.
So the first one had a tree blown over, and you could just walk over and just walk across it.
Oh,
easy.
Wow.
You get to the next one, and it was like somebody had dammed it. And so it was like knee deep, and you're like, oh, there's no way around this because there's so much brush on both sides. Yeah. You're like, all right, well, I guess I'm undressing for this one.
I've once hiked in to that area with bush clippers, so I could clip off twigs because that creek crossing I was anticipating it being a bit gnarly, and I was glad I had them because it was in the spring. Trail hadn't been really hiked that much, and it made it really simple. But then I learned about a very nasty weed called the
Spotted Thistle?
No. It was I don't know why I can't think of it. Has really jagged leaves and it leaves little thorns and I can't remember what it's called. It'll come back to me later. But
is it called a cactus?
No.
Okay.
No. But apparently it's a nutritious plant. If you boil it, it softens those spines up and you can actually ingest them, which I'm never going to try because what it did to my leg that day made it hurt for about 4 hours. But I just can't remember what they're called.
Okay.
Nettle. Stinging nettle.
Oh, yeah. Those are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay away from those. That's some expert advice. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So Peloton, are you familiar with the Peloton?
Yeah.
I thought if there's a bridge, there's no bridge across the Amazon. Did you know that?
We've probably had that conversation before. It sounds familiar.
That's a great metaphor.
No bridge.
Some people don't need to be friends. It's okay. Right?
Sure.
There's no bridge across the Amazon. It's all right. You're on that team. I'm on this team. It's okay. So when it comes to working out,
Yeah.
right? I'm on the CrossFit side.
Yeah.
You're not.
Nope.
But if there's a bridge, it could be Peloton.
Yeah, I don't like Peloton.
Why?
It's a bike. I have a bike.
I know.
I don't need a Peloton.
Yeah, but you live in Idaho. Can you ride a bike right now? Or would you?
No, I actually have an elliptical. And so I have a hard time not calling it a Peloton. It's not a Peloton or whatever that thing is.
What if?
But I have an elliptical.
Okay, let me throw one more what if to see if I can change your mind. What if they sponsor the Elk Season podcast? Come on. I would go on. I would commit to 3 days a week. I will get on with every elk hunter in North America if they want to. You say, hey, here's the elk hunter challenge. Here's the elk hunter challenge ride for the day. And every archery elk hunter can say, hey, if you can do this, you're gonna be one step better during elk season.
But my elliptical can do the same thing as Peloton. I can hook up to the internet and I can screenshot people or connect with others. And so it's just that's the medium for those bikes.
Right.
I think an elliptical is better than a bike because it's getting your legs moving in a way. It's more like a stair stepper, and that's more indicative of climbing a hillside.
You think so?
That's what I prepared.
I think there's a lot more knee bending in bicycling. There's a lot more thigh work in bicycling.
But you're resting your overall core weight on a seat, and I'm not doing that on the elliptical.
You know what's funny? I have my. Oh, where's my? I have my.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called?
Smart Band?
It's not a Fitbit. It's called a.
The caveat was we're not technologically savvy,
right?
But we're recording this somehow. I'm not sure how that works.
Think.
I keep looking. I'm nervous. This is my first time recording.
We'll have to listen back to make sure we got it.
Yeah.
No. What the frick is it called? Dang it. It's a health monitor thing.
Yeah.
It's a Zoom. No, I want to call it.
Just call it a health monitor. A wristband.
And
health monitor.
it monitors. What's funny is it monitors my activity. So a really, really good workout is about a 10, right? If I do nothing all day, it gives me a score of about 3 to 5.
Okay.
But if I do a really hefty workout, it can give me a score anywhere from 10 to 11 or 12. Okay, elk season was all in the teens. And Mount Bora was 21.3, was maxed out.
Yeah.
It didn't get any higher than that. Everybody that's ever had one said, "Oh yeah, that's as high as it goes."
Oh wow.
Yeah. So so Mount Bora, it's a good
I remember
test.
we estimated the miles we hiked one September because I logged it on my phone.
Yeah.
I was had my phone in my pocket. It was counting steps, and we logged some 86,000 steps across the weekends.
Yeah.
Or no, it was like 86 miles of steps.
Over September.
Yeah, just the weekends.
Just in the mountains. So what's funny is when I ride a bike at the gym, there's an assault bike which you use your hands, but then they have a regular bike which you just use your legs. When I do a workout and just use my legs, my health monitor wristband guy knows it, and it's like, oh, you went cycling. Because my heart rate went up, but I wasn't breathing hard because I'm using big muscles. I don't know. It just knows, hey, you're cycling. Is that wild?
Wow.
Anyway, so there is a difference between what you do on the elliptical for sure and cycling. I think that's where we were.
And I think both are healthy. I mean, you got to keep your body guessing. That's what is cool about CrossFit is the variety of things that keeps your body going. And so that's what I like about CrossFit. I'm just not a big fan of gym processes. I've realized I'm more of an introvert as I've gotten older. And so I'm not a socialite that I thought I once was.
We did rope climbs this week, which are hard.
I've done that.
And
for real.
Wall walks. So here's a wall walk in CrossFit. On a wall walk is you lay face down on the ground with your feet against the wall. Do a push-up and walk backwards and touch your nose to the wall with your feet pointing straight up in the air. So that's a wall walk. You go backwards on your hands. So we had to do those. Those are really hard. It's a really high energy move. It takes a lot out of you. Anyway, So I had a good week at the gym. I guess we're gonna do a official update. Is I only lost 2 pounds this week, which is good. Which is a good trend. It's 13 pounds in 2 weeks.
So I'm also not a big fan of trendy, and so so hear me out. And I don't mean any criticism here, because you're like 222 by 222.
Right.
And I go, wow,
which is a Tuesday.
Right.
It's a Tuesday. Get it? It's a Tuesday.
Yeah. And anyway, thank you for being on the podcast today, Harold. It's been great talking to you.
I'll make a good dad someday.
But no, I thought, but the important thing about what you said, as though it sounds kind of like gimmicky, those are important. Having deadlines, having goals. And so I'm like, I can't just willy-nilly go into my weight loss myself. So I'm doing something different. So please don't read too much into it, because I'm trying to get down to 240 by 420.
Really?
Yeah.
See, you need to have a true goal. You need a deadline. Yeah. And you need a way to track and measure your progress.
And so
that's all I'm doing.
And so reflecting on that side of it, I realize I'm selling myself short if I'm not doing that. I'm not giving myself the best opportunity. So that's my goal. And so I'm officially 10. Well, okay. And I also changed the way that I'm tracking my weight. So I'm going to weigh myself once a day every morning when I wake up.
Okay.
That's just
you've always done that.
Yeah, so that's an easy habit for me to remember, so that's when I weigh myself.
And how's your tracking?
So, I'm officially at roughly 10 pounds flat in terms of 2 weeks of just focusing on portion control. That's really all it's been. But I've started doing something that I think is helpful, and this might help anybody who might be hearing this. If you weigh yourself every day, you're going to notice your weight fluctuating up and down. Yeah. And so you're going to have days where you're like, yes, I've lost some weight. And then days where you're like, I've gained it all back. But that's not really what's going on, because you're trying to adjust what's called your set point. And so I've gone to a 3-day average. So I'll weigh myself every day, but I'll watch my 3-day average.
Ah, okay.
So I started off at one particular weight. And so according to my 3-day average, I'm 10.5 pounds down.
Oh, great.
And so,
So that one weigh-in doesn't mess with your head as much.
Right.
You balance it with the previous
and
weigh-ins.
Then I actually have it in a spreadsheet that I'm tracking, even though my phone, I enter it in my phone, but I like to see graphs a little bit better. So I'm tracking it in an Excel sheet, and I have the charts up, and you can see.
You got an Excel sheet.
I'm kind of nerdy that way with numbers. So, but
we'll publish that. We'll put that on YouTube.
I could, yeah. But it's good to just kind of track, but having that deadline, 240 by 420. So
that's nice. That's nice. I like that. That's good. God, I wish I would have thought of that.
Right? Your deadline's a little bit sooner. I was thinking, it didn't sound healthy for me. You have a much different lifestyle than I do, though. So I think it's, it is what it is for each person. So
yeah, well, we'll see. It's really kind of a aim high. It's better to aim high and miss than aim low and hit kind of thing, where you go, yeah, this is my goal. That's what I want to do. Why not do it now? Let's go. Yeah. So we'll see. Anyway, so that's the update. There's a bunch of elk news, and I came across a ton of content. I went on to Facebook, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation page, if you like it, and they're responsible. They got an image to upkeep. They want to keep news out there. But there's a lot of interesting stuff, and I follow like New Mexico Fish and Game on Facebook, Arizona Fish and Game, Colorado. I try to keep up with as many sources as I can. If I'm missing anything, please, and you're listening to this, please email me, RockyMountainElkSeason@gmail.com. That is RockyMountainElkSeason@gmail.com. And if there's any news stories or anything that needs to get out, we'd love to talk about them every week. And there's a ton of stuff this week.
Yeah, it's bizarre how, anything from CWD.
Yeah. Have you been reading about that? Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it, but I first shared it with you, and then you shared the elk with me, and then the last thing I saw in the headlines was elk in the window well, but it's all relative to the elk conversation.
So where is Unit 14 in Idaho?
Unit 14 is up around Moscow.
Is it really? Okay.
So it's northern Idaho.
So it's across the Rockies.
Yeah, because when we first had the mule deer outbreak, because we had finally decided to get back into mule deer hunting this year, and so that's right when that broke out, and so I was like, well, where's 14? Because we're going to be hunting mule deer, but it's up north.
Okay.
Not that it's not here, but we just haven't found it here in southern Idaho versus northern Idaho.
And do wolves help? Right? Are chronic wasting disease numbers lower in places like Manitoba or Minnesota where wolves are active?
That's an interesting question.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
I don't know either.
But we will see. Because there's on the eastern, gosh, there's a lot of wolves in Idaho, man.
But see,
there's a lot.
But it's kind of a conundrum, Warren, because if CWD is present, if man wasn't around, it'd still have a presence possibly. I don't know where I'm trying to say with this, but like elk population or not. So because one of the ideas is if the population is too big, is CWD there
would cool it.
But
right. Well, like any disease would.
True.
Or any disease should, or is designed, or whatever. How evolution is designed.
Right. Adaptation.
So that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see, just an interesting story to follow, because now there are elk with chronic wasting disease.
Right.
Not just mule deer. That is a relatively new development in the elk world,
and it's
in Idaho especially.
It's like that word we've loved in the last few years. An abundance of caution is to just not eat the meat. We're not sure what it does to man.
Yeah.
But they're just concerned that it could be more like a mad cow disease type disease. And so it's, if you do suspect, or I kind of hoped that Idaho Fish and Game would open the door to say, hey, if you're curious, if you could send your meat to be tested if you harvest anything. And I haven't seen that. They only say for certain areas, but I think it would be wise to just say, hey, anybody who's willing to volunteer meat for testing to find prevalence, because the other way that they're trying to find prevalence is just opening up tags so they can check the prevalence in the living population. So that's what they've been doing in the last couple months. My understanding is up north, because they opened a bunch of tags up.
Oh,
because
really?
They want to find out what the prevalence is.
Yes. Yeah, and cull the herd themselves before it spreads through it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if it was culling the herd. I think it was just more or less we just need to know.
Sampling the herd.
Yeah. Sample.
Yeah. All right. So a Colorado rancher claims wolf kill. Well, this is the first of many.
Yeah,
this is the first of many. Welcome to the party, Colorado. You have wolves. There is a book out there to help you with this. And I know I've talked about it before. It's called Wolfer by Carter Niemeyer. Carter Niemeyer was, and the book is fantastic. Not everybody tells the truth about themselves, but he paints himself to look pretty decent guy. Mm-hmm. He grew up in the Midwest, fascinated with trapping, wanted to trap coyotes and fox and learn the secrets. And now I follow some guys on TikTok, and they talk about how you got to bury the trap and you got to set it this way over here and do a lot of things to cover up and make sure you set your trap right. And he was so fascinated with it that he went to college to be, he heard that a federal trapper was a job.
Wow.
You could be a federal employee and a trapper. He's like, okay, that's what I want. That's what he set his sights on, and he went for it.
Nice.
And he ended up being the first person in modern history to dart a wolf in the United States.
Okay.
From a helicopter. He actually went into Canada. They went from, so this guy was in Helena. This is our hometown.
Okay.
He started telling stories about our hometown because in downtown Helena is the big federal building.
Right.
And the thing you got to understand about Helena, it's about the size of Twin Falls. It's not that big. But I think they're building a third high school now. So how many high schools in the Magic Valley? 20.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
So Helena's a small town.
With the surrounding population, it's a smaller population.
A small community. And everybody works for the state, right? Our dad worked for the state. Yeah. And so there's all these senators and all this stuff going on, all these federal judges. And that's where they held Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah.
Because we lived in the same county as Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah.
So this guy, Carter Niemeyer, he's a trapper and he's an expert and he's college educated. And he has to go out and do these, what do you call them? Necropsy?
Yeah.
Necropsy?
Yeah.
On these ranchers that say a wolf killed my cattle because they know there's big money, and they were against the wolves coming back.
Sure.
And the fear was off the charts in Montana at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was still 20 maybe. So you had
Okay.
been around 10 or 11.
Yeah.
But people were like, these wolves are going to sneak into our yards and eat our children. They were that serious about it.
I had somebody tell me that a wolf, to their friends who lived in Montana, a wolf chased them through their house. I had a hard time buying that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wondered, did it dress up as your grandma and get in bed too?
I could only imagine it would have to.
So there's a lot of rhetoric that's still out there that I think is,
Right.
I think the emotion behind the rhetoric is real and should be acknowledged, but we also need to encourage, I think, an opportunity to listen, but also encourage the insight as to what's more realistic and what's really going on. So having people doing these studies like the necropsy studies.
Yeah. Carter Niemeyer.
Yeah.
So this guy, he's torn, right? Because he's a hunter. He's the guy that goes out there and he's rifling and helicoptering and he's doing all this stuff. But then you got all these state guys, and they have his office in the basement of that big 4 or 5 story building in downtown Helena.
Vague memories for me, but
right? And it's a big red brick building.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm picturing when I'm reading this book. The best bait he uses to catch cats or to catch dogs, wolves, coyotes, foxes are cats.
Wow.
He finds roadkill cats or he traps cats. And he's like, I'm saving the meat and I'm going to use that to capture wolves. And
Okay.
But you can't just use it to trap. You have to let it brew. And he put it in a big drum in the base of the federal building in Helena. In the summertime. I mean,
I see where this is going.
just because the bureaucracy and the crap that he had to put up with. But he's like, I'm a federal employee. Nobody here can fire me. Everybody here hates me. There's nothing they can do about it. They have to give me an office. They give me this crappy office. Well, we can play. And he plays, and he played pretty good, and he could stink that place up pretty good. Anyway, when you see, he wanted the truth though. When he went out and did a necropsy, he wanted to see, hey, yes, there were wolves feeding on your cattle. That doesn't mean the wolves killed your cattle.
Right.
Okay. You see these, wolves. There's a in that flank, in that flap of skin between their guts and their hip, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where a wolf takedown is. And if there's no puncture wounds there from a wolf, even if the wolf is eating the cattle. Anyways, he describes it all in his book, Colorado. You should read that book. You're going that way. Okay? Because the elk populations are coming down. They're going to come down in Colorado. Wolves are really good at killing elk.
Mm-hmm.
And they're moving in, and but there's so much country in Colorado.
Yeah, it's a place I'd love to explore more. I've only been to Fort Collins, and I didn't even get to go to the mountains there. We're just there visiting.
So anyways, Wolfer, it's hard to say. Wolfer by Carter Niemeyer. And it was actually free on my Audible account.
Oh, nice.
I listened to it, but it was just like, hey, this is included with your Audible. And I'm like, all right. So if you have Audible, check out Carter Niemeyer's Wolfer.
That's a monthly subscription, right?
Probably.
So cheap. I don't know. I want to do Audible so bad.
Oh.
But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so Colorado rancher claims a wolf killed his stock. I don't know if it was cattle or whatever. But anyway, so that's the first of many. Welcome to the party, Colorado. The Boise River is at 122% of snowpack. And the Lost River Range is at 137% of snowpack.
Wow.
So just happy to hear snowpack. It's a part of the ecology. We've had a really, really super hot, dry year.
Big Loss has been part of that. Last year it was the
super drought.
The super drought.
Yeah. So happy to see Idaho bouncing back. Hopefully, it's still early. As time goes by, that percentage could come down because it's supposed to snow regularly throughout the year. But We've had some really good snow this year. Very happy to see it.
And it's hung around too. It hasn't just melted off, which a lot of times in the last 10 years it has. Even with the 2017 snowpocalypse here in the valleys, it would melt off pretty quick. But we've had snow for almost a month now on the ground, which I don't know if
it
it's
has
a good
melted
thing,
slow, which has helped flooding.
Yeah, that.
Because when it melted back in 2017, it melted fast.
Yeah.
And that was bad. So having the snow come over Christmas and
in fact, the snowpocalypse on the Boise River, a place that we like to frequent back in the day for prospecting, got washed out. There was such a bad event; they had to go fix the roads and stuff. Up on that south fork of Boise River.
That was a good snow. 2021 Wisconsin elk season successful. Wisconsin.
Wow.
I know that was a headline from the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. So I know last year we talked about last week we talked about Pennsylvania having a good elk season, but they're talking about Missouri and Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
there's lots of places. So they're moving elk back into a lot of other places. So it's good to see elk season come along.
Yes.
What's that? I can't read that one.
It says Washington County's call for extended cougar season.
Oh yeah. Extended cougar season because 9 of 125 tagged elk calves survived. 9 of 125.
That's a very low number.
Wow. So and again, would the wolves help keep the cats in check? Would a better balanced ecosystem? I didn't know. Again, you see this, the very bottom one says, Colorado man videos mountain lion eating elk on his porch. On his porch. That's where the elk came down. That's where the cat has to gorge. It's too big. I'm just about to listen to myself ask you, I didn't think cats had, mountain lions ate a lot of elk. But there it is.
Yeah.
Right there on somebody's porch in Colorado. And Washington counties are saying, hey, listen, we have to curtail the mountain lions.
Even here in Idaho, they've had an uptick, it seems.
Yes.
For the last 15 years. Yep. We had mountain lion problems at Idaho State University when I was a student there, and they'd put out memos for students who lived in student housing because mountain lions were seen in the student housing complexes. And so it was kind of bizarre. I never saw any, and I was
Cats are dangerous.
They're opportunistic things.
Oh.
And coincidentally, though, I didn't watch the video, but I saw a headline of a guy there's apparently a video with it where a cat is chasing him, but he stops, he turns around, and he scares it off. So he plays big and he plays, and that's what the advice was given with the emails from public safety at ISU was, don't turn around, don't run, make big noises, look them in the eye. For some reason, they don't like looking them in the eye, and so, yeah.
I've only seen one in the wild.
Me too.
Oh, well, 2 now, actually.
2?
Yeah, because
we saw the bobcat back in the day.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah, it was there and then it was gone.
Yeah.
I just remember you hit the brakes. We were in a Jeep Cherokee and you hit the brakes so hard. I was like whiplash, and then I saw it and then it was gone. Like we couldn't find it to save our life.
Yeah, no trace. Weird. Yeah. Cats are like that.
Yeah.
I saw one in the wild up in northern Idaho.
Okay.
And then we saw one this year.
Yeah.
Out and about. So, and that's not the only time we've seen them in mule deer territory where we hunt them.
Right.
So a lot of mountain lions. And what's funny is a lot of talk on TikTok this week has been different states making new, stricter laws against hunting predators. Listen, the grizzlies have been turned over to Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be able to hunt those bears. We should be able to maintain a healthy ecosystem. Or we can ship them to California.
Well, isn't there's no grizzlies in California?
There hasn't been grizzlies in California for 50 years.
Trivia question.
Yeah.
What animal is on the California state flag?
It's a grizz, son.
Just
you know what? You know what? I always thought, if grizzly bears were overpopulated in the Sierra Nevada mountains,
mm-hmm.
right? So there'd be a lot fewer hikers out there, which would be probably be great for the ecosystem. But would they change the laws? Would they finally come around and go, oh, you know what? We are, you can go ahead and hunt some grizzly bears. How many people they got to eat before you go, okay, you can hunt the grizzly bear?
I don't know.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to find out because every time they try to do a hunt for grizzly bear here in the Intermountain Northwest, federal judges step in. Yeah, and step in, which is fine, which just means there's more bear to hunt next year.
Sure.
A lot more bear, and the population is really growing.
And it's turned into some cool videos, at least from like the Yellowstone area.
Oh yeah,
the elk and the grizzly in the river.
Holy
was
crap!
Was
that the one where he drowned
finest.
it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was
something. That was something. So anyway, we'll see. It's all a work in progress, and between Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming managing their own grizzly bears, how much could archery elk lose its status as the greatest outdoor sport in North America?
Well, no.
Thank you. That's right.
No, you're welcome. You would just have the most dangerous archery elk hunt, or no. Wow, I can't even get my word straight. The most dangerous archery hunt in North America would be grizzly.
One of the things that makes archery elk the greatest outdoor sport in North America is your interaction with the prey. There's no other outdoor sport. You don't talk to grizzly bears. You do talk to moose. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of moose, but really you get them riled up a little bit and then they come right to. No, I'm kidding. I haven't killed any moose. I shouldn't talk.
I wouldn't even know.
I haven't even killed enough elk to be talking about it. But there's so much interaction between you and an elk, and it's not there with the mule deer. It's not there with the bears, with either sex bears or either species of the deer. So that's what makes archery elk the greatest outdoor sport in North America. But I would love to have the opportunity to hunt grizzly bear in the Intermountain Northwest. I don't know why we wouldn't be able to do that, but hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, as far as hunting predators, it's never been an interest of mine. But
and I don't know why it's of interest to me, other than I can say a few things, but we haven't gone too far off the deep end on the podcast yet, so we'll save that for another time.
Just one of those things.
So Boone and Crockett, I wrote Boone and Crockett on there. Because what they're going to do, Boone and Crockett is not archery.
Okay.
Pope and Young is archery.
Okay.
Boone and Crockett is for rifle.
Okay.
And Boone and Crockett says, if you're using a smart scope, we're not going to let you on our list. It's too much help. They think it's not fair chase.
Yeah, so smart scope being like it has a rangefinder in it, or?
It has an app. It comes with an app.
And
you're like,
okay.
Oh, it's this many yards. The wind is this. It's almost a programmable.
I've seen those. Yeah,
you're just a trigger man.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a trigger man. And with something like that, you can reach out so far away, you don't really have to hunt. So it's really not fair chase. It really is not fair chase. And every time I see when I go to look at content on YouTube, oh, that's a nice elk. That's a nice elk. That's a nice elk. Yeah, but is there a rifle or a bow there?
Yeah.
Did he hunt it or did he just shoot it?
Excuse me. Interestingly enough, with smart sights, they even have them for bows too, where they have built-in rangefinders. Of course, in Idaho, if it's got an electronic device to any extent you can't use it, it would be illegal to.
Can't be attached to your bow.
Can't be attached, right? And so anyway, it's funny how these innovations are going in the way where, sure, it gives I don't know, an unfair advantage, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
So it's kind of like it seems backwards.
Sometimes.
Unless it's for sport and you're just doing distance shooting at targets. But
right. Well, and then you need to know.
Yeah.
But then you watch somebody like somebody who's really good on a recurve. Mm-hmm. And there's no sights, and it's all instinct.
Yeah.
And he can knock his own arrows out of the air. And you're like, well.
And he probably made his own arrows.
You're like, well, step it up, son.
Right.
Why do you need electronics on your bow at all?
Yeah.
Why do I have training wheels? Those are my cams, by the way. I'll tell you that story someday.
Yeah.
Elk Media. That's the elk news. That's the elk news. I know we're already 45 minutes in. We're okay.
Everything's running smooth so far. I'm excited. So.
Yeah, it feels good. Elk Media. You go first. You go first.
Well,
you got something for me today.
Yeah. So I kind of questioned you on whether or not you'd seen a particular video. Maybe you have. When you start watching, you go, "Oh yes, I have seen it." But either way, if you haven't seen it, we'll just get your reaction. So I'll hand you my laptop.
Okay.
And I'll pull the video up, and then you can sort of just react to what you are seeing.
All right. You want to tell everybody what we're seeing? There's no sound, right?
I'll have the sound up. We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
well.
good
I don't
or
want
bad.
any copyright infringement if we're recording this for.
Okay, I'll turn the sound
YouTube.
I'll turn the sound.
Do I need to hear it? Is the guy just like, oh my gosh, I wet my pants?
Well, yeah. We'll just mute it, and then here you go. It's only about 2.5 minute video.
2.5 minutes. All right. I see an aspen grove and one big. Oh, there's two of them. Oh, I have not seen this video. Right. They are thundering towards each other.
And this guy's just out in the woods with his camera.
Yeah.
He just happens to catch this.
Wow. This guy has got to be 20 yards away. He is really, really close. And these big bull elk are charging at each other. They've locked horns. They have not unlocked horns the entire time. Man, they just surge forward with such intensity.
That's why the sound is good.
And the dirt flying out from underneath their hooves.
Yeah,
they're getting pretty close to that dude. Is he? Wow.
Could you imagine coming across such testosterone-driven aggression?
Oh my gosh!
From these big.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. He almost got run over backwards.
There it is.
Wow! Oh! Chase him! He has to turn around. He's getting chased so hard. Wow. Yeah, it's all cottonwoods too, and the leaves are starting to turn. Some of them are falling. They're still locked.
And they're so into it, they don't even notice
They don't care. Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, they have to focus. That's part of what the brain does, doesn't it? When you are threatened.
Yeah, it sort of locks out other elements. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, they're so big. Why isn't he shooting? Am I the only one thinking that? Just shoot one of them. This thing will end.
Part of me wonders if this was a scout video and he didn't have a weapon. So
private land, maybe. I'm on my way to my elk place. All the things we don't know. Wow, that's some good elk content. Those things are big. Holy, maybe they're still fighting.
Yeah, maybe we leave a link to this video in the comments. It's.
I will. Yeah, you send me the link.
Yeah.
Holy crap! How many? Let me see. How many views? It's called Two Monster 6-Point Bull Fight in an Awesome Battle. 307,000 views by Jeremiah Mosley.
Yeah,
is what the creator name on that is. Yeah, he only has 100 subscribers.
Yeah,
but that has 300,000 views. That is unbelievable. That is so fantastic. Oh my gosh, they're still coming.
Yeah, it's
wow. He's hiding behind trees.
Yeah, it's
like they're aiming for him. Oh, there we go. Break it off. Yeah, we're both tired. Just run it off. Awesome. That I have not seen that. How have I not seen that?
I don't know.
I have been deliberately watching a lot of elk content for almost a full year now.
And that's an old video
on a regular basis. Wow.
So there's my elk media for you this week.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. I watched a couple of them. So one of them, and I'll leave links to them. Like I said, I watched 3 of them. One of them I couldn't find anymore.
That's what you were saying. The history. We've come. This has come full circle.
I'm sure it's in my history. I'm sure it's in my history. It's just so overwhelming. All those choices.
Well, just about the time you get used to the way things flow on your stuff,
yes.
Google or whoever will just change the format.
They do.
And it's like, thanks.
You're like, okay, so where's the creator studio now? Thank you.
Yeah, just when I got used to Google Music and I loved what it had to offer, they changed it. They got rid of it and they turned it into YouTube Music. And now stuff that I've produced, music that I created, sometimes plays an ad because they've made it a weird workaround for me to have to find a way to listen to my own crap for free. It's so annoying. I'm so angry at the music world, at least YouTube Music, for doing that to me.
Really?
Sorry, YouTube.
You have to watch a commercial to listen to your own music.
Yeah. So basically, I have file folders of music, and so they converted over from Google Music into YouTube Music. And so I go, oh, here's my file folder with my music in it. And I'll go to push play, and I'll be driving down the road. It'll be plugged in my radio. And all of a sudden, an ad will come on. And so I have to pull over because I'm like, how is this possible? So they've just structured it in a way to where I can get to my music. It's still there. So they're out, or the caveat to that is I can still get it, but it's really annoying and it's really frustrating to do. So I rely more on other technologies.
They're pretty clever.
Technologies.
They're pretty clever, those Googlers.
Anyway,
Google people. So I watched 3 videos.
okay.
The first guy, the video starts out, oh, all right, let's go. We're headed to Colorado. The first 2 go to Colorado. The third one, I wanted it to be an Idaho hunt. I just wanted to watch something in Idaho. The 2 in Colorado, they drove 13 hours and 14 hours just to get there. Just to get there, they drove 13. And one guy and his girlfriend drove 13 hours. Wow. Another guy and his crew drove 14 hours to get to Colorado.
Wow. Yeah, it's a drive. I've done it.
That's who we're talking to. Yeah. That's who the Elk Season podcast is for. Yeah. That's so great. Yeah. That's so great that these guys recognize the opportunity that's in Colorado. Sure. Especially right now before it's full of wolves. Not that I'm against the wolf.
No,
but the wolves are
going to have an impact.
They're going to cut the population down. But right now, there's so much country and there's so many elk in Colorado. And both of these guys, one of them drove 13 hours, one of them drove 14. And neither one of them harvested an elk. And both of them said at the end of the hunt, I talked to elk. I saw elk. I got to be out in the mountains. I got everything I wanted from this trip.
Nice.
That's elk season.
Yeah.
That's it.
You hear a description like that, and it takes you to the places that you've been that are just that,
And thank you for publishing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting that. You put your whole trip on, and you don't harvest. Thank you for sharing that with everybody else. Archery elk has a 90% fail rate.
It's a tough sport, but that's not what makes it great.
It's only one of the things.
Yeah, I guess it's one aspect that makes it
so great
because of the challenge.
The third guy came to Idaho, and he drove 22 hours to be here to hunt, and he was successful, although that he didn't think he was going to be. It's like, okay, well, it's like day 5. Oh, I thought I was going to be in, and all three of them said, get in shape. Okay.
Yeah, it's an important piece.
And all 3 of them were doing, and I'll leave links. One of them is called DIY Colorado Elk Hunt, and another one is called My Best Yet. That's the guy who drove 22 hours to Idaho. Okay. It's called My Best Yet. The other one, I'll try to find it and put a link in the description, which is just more brain torture for me. But I'll try. I'll have some coffee. But that they had in common, and I, as much as I don't know about elk hunting, I see him bugle, I see him talk, mm-hmm. I see things that I think, hey man, I can help you. I can help you. Right here.
Goodness.
I'm holding a freeze-dried food pouch.
Oh, mountain.
They were all eating freeze-dried food pouches.
Yeah.
And they were all doing the same kind of thing. They were all, how's that taste? It passes as food.
It'll pass.
It passes as food.
It passes.
And you guys know, all elk hunters know this. All elk hunters know. Yeah. And I'm a dummy. I've tried to do this.
Yeah. We both have. I even tried some new stuff last year, which, oh man.
Was it this one?
Oh,
this one. I don't even know what this is, man.
No,
we
added the water and we did the pizza out in the middle of nowhere, and it was the worst thing.
The Walmart. What are you doing to me?
I've still got the hash browns.
So David found these chemical cookers,
at Walmart.
Right. What is it? Sodium hydroxide or something. You add water to it. It heats up. It gases off a little bit. You're not supposed to breathe it or light it on fire. Whatever. It's safe.
Cook your food with it.
Cook your food with it. And here's your food, by the way. It was made in China. So anyway, and that's how it tasted.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Food made in China, heated up by chemicals.
That had been on a shelf for an unspecified amount of time, like a K-pack for a K-cup.
I beg to every elk hunter out there, stop doing this.
You're fueling an industry that's selling you.
I don't care about the industry. I don't care. In fact, if you want to be a sponsor of the Elk Season podcast,
Try to prove us wrong, I guess.
send me enough money to get me to say this tastes good. That's a lot of money.
That's actually a fair point.
For the right money, I'll say it.
That's a good point.
For no money at all, I will say Idahoan potatoes.
Oh my gosh. We just loaded up on these yesterday because
Nothing rehydrates like a potato. Nothing. Nothing. This is loaded baked. You can see. I'll hold this up to the thing. It's a loaded baked, and which means it just has enough salt in it.
Yeah.
Here's what's funny. I should have thrown these over here. As I look at these freeze dried food pouches, this one has serving size is a half a package.
Okay.
So there's 2 servings in the package. Each serving has 220 calories. So great. You got a 440 calorie meal.
Yeah.
That's a decent
calorie load.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. What you have to do to get there though. So that's that one. Let's talk about a few more things. This has 440 calories. How long does it take to cook? How much does it weigh? And how expensive is it?
Yeah.
You take all those things into account because what do you got to do? Fill this with hot water that you boiled in your jet boil and let it sit for 12 minutes. That is torture.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That's a crime against humanity. Making a hunter wait that long for food. There's no way I'm waiting that long.
Well, I've got time.
The
elk have bedded down for the day. I've got time.
I'm digging in before it's done, right? All hunters do that. You're hungry, so you start to make food, and you think, well, food should be ready by now, and it's never ready on time.
Yeah.
Whatever the time says, if it says 8 minutes, wait 16. If it says 12, wait 24.
Yeah.
Go have an adventure. However, Idahoan, and you could sponsor me. Well, for some potatoes.
Other than you just said for no money at all, but continue.
Well, you can give me some
potatoes.
Some potatoes for this. So in this package, there are 4 servings. Each serving is 110 calories. That's the same caloric content as the entire freeze-dried meal.
Yeah.
Just in spuds.
Yep.
So and this thing is so packable.
Yeah.
It hardly takes up any room. And I'm a big fella.
Yeah.
440 calories is a good start for a fellow like me. So I like to add extra calories, and those calories come in some canola oil, some cheese, and a good protein source. Yeah. So I'll throw in a piece of Spam. I'll throw in some chicken. Yeah. I'll throw in some pepperoni. You can get, and it's so diverse. There's so many different kinds of potatoes.
One caveat is the only thing that like people like Mountain House are doing that Idaho Spuds are not doing, and this is just a little bit of encouragement because we're not the only ones that use the potatoes.
Right.
A resealable package would be nice.
You think?
Because sometimes you just want to make a little bit. I don't like eating a whole thing of potatoes to myself.
So, yeah, I know. But half is never enough.
Well, I guess it depends on the context.
Yeah, if I've worked really hard,
sure,
then I'm gonna eat all these potatoes, and this is a lot of potatoes.
There's always Ziploc too,
and I always make them in a Ziploc. One of the things.
Oh, that's right.
One of the things people love about these freeze-dried pouches is that they're pouches.
Yeah.
There's your dishes. You don't have to do any dishes. When you're done eating or doing what you're going to do with what's inside here, you seal it up, and then you can put it in your pack. It's not going to leak anywhere. It's really nice. So I just keep a lot of Ziplocs with me. But I see everybody doing this, and I think it's a huge mistake. They're elk hunting an enormous disservice by eating by calling it food.
Yeah, but especially when as we've discovered, because we started there and we discovered there's more options out there that are economical and lightweight, packable, and just that much more, what would you say, delicious, tasty?
Yeah. Yeah, so like we were talking before, fat doesn't really freeze dry very well. So if you just have a little bit of fresh cheese, and if you can keep some fresh cheese with you, or a little bit of canola spread, and sometimes my canola spread gets a little too hot, and you see it separate.
It's oily.
It becomes oily, watery.
Yeah.
You got to, shake it a little bit back together, or knead it back together in the morning. But having a little bit of fat in your potatoes, having some cheese in the potatoes, and having some meat in potatoes, that's all we need. You can also do noodles.
Yeah.
But I've just never done as far as carbohydrates in elk season go.
Yeah.
There's rice, there's oatmeal, there's potatoes, there's all kinds of different freeze-dried vegetables too. And that's a lot of what they put in these freeze-dried meal pouches. Yeah. But the freeze-dried meal pouches, if they just had one that said, "Hey, here's the veggies, add a piece of Spam," or if you open the kit and there was a piece of Spam in there, right? Or some of the chicken that we have, But I don't know.
Anyway, there's a lot of options, and it doesn't have to be freeze dried necessarily. Except the potatoes are kind of a must, but the other freeze dried brands
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. They do have their place. The freeze-dried meals have their place.
At the end of the day, whatever it is you need to feel confident in the field, do it.
But they all look disappointed when they're eating it.
But we're trying to address your discomfort.
Listen, this is not my therapy, okay?
Their discomfort. I didn't say your. We're trying to address their discomfort because you're right. Because if they're
yes,
it's
like, that's what I'm trying to do. Address their discomfort. Yeah. Don't do that. And they did something that we have done on a regular basis.
Okay.
They made a mistake.
I'm nervous.
No, they try experimental food.
Oh.
Right? That's what those chemical
Yeah.
That was, hey, I got something new this year. Uh-oh, we're going hungry today.
Yeah. And I think that's part of what makes it fun. If I come across that stuff, I feel that urge to be like, just need to have this to see what happens. Because that pizza was the worst, but it leads to a good memory because we know it's going to be crap. We just have low expectations. And maybe one of these days we're proven wrong or surprised by something that's just amazing. But so far, the potatoes, the other things that you've talked about, the chicken, the Spam was once upon a time.
There's a guy who liked my TikTok account, and I saw that he liked my TikTok account, and I look at his account, and he's like, he does these custom freeze-dried meals. I wonder if I should hit him up.
Yeah.
I could just reach out to him and see if he'd want me to try. I could give him a review at the very least.
I mean, to me, I would fancy an MRE long before I'd fancy the freeze-dried stuff.
Oh, the MREs are awesome.
Yeah.
They're good stuff. That's right out of the cafeteria, grade school cafeteria.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Government food.
But it's heavy. It's not backpack food.
Yeah.
It's hiking food.
Yeah.
But it's not backpack food. Right. Ooh, I just thought of another sponsor. I hiked up to Angel's Landing in Zions National Park.
Oh, okay.
This summer. Everybody had Cliff Bars.
Oh.
There's a Cliff Bar factory in our town.
Yeah, I finally come around to Cliff Bar. Like last September, you had them, and I started buying them, and I was like, okay, because it's really about what your taste buds fancy. Because there's some that are just going to taste bad to you, but others are going to be amazing. And so that's really the brilliance of Cliff Bars. They have such a variety that, and
they're just really good energy. Enjoyable. If you look on the back, I mean, it was
Mount Bora. That's where I got it. You gave me a couple Cliff Bars, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I felt full. I felt energy. I was like, wow, okay. And we have the Cliff Bar manufacturing here.
Yeah, and that Cliff Bar size is just perfect because it doesn't overload your stomach. You can still hike after eating a Cliff Bar or while eating a Cliff Bar.
It was my chosen breakfast before we get on the trail in September.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think I had some too. And they're just ubiquitous now. It's like, just have a Cliff Bar. It'll tide you over for 20 minutes until dinner's ready. Yeah. Because they're right in that 200, 300 calorie range.
Yeah.
And I found some coconut ones that were just heaven.
And I like the
heaven.
cookie ones and the chocolate chip cookie ones and the brownie.
Oh yeah.
The brownie ones.
Oh, the brownie ones. Oh, forget it. That's not even. That's a dessert.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's enough time. That's enough time we have. We're just over an hour.
Yeah.
So, thanks everybody for checking
you.
out the Elk Season Podcast. If you would like to be a guest on the Elk Season Podcast, please let us know. We'll have guests soon. I'll drag some strangers over to your house.
Well,
we'll
talk about that.
Okay.
But like, share, comment, reach out. Thank you for watching, whoever you are. Appreciate it.
Rocky Mountain Elk Season at gmail.com. That's Rocky Mountain Elk Season at gmail.com. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week. Goodbye.
Cheers.